This is from the Washington Post. Biden and aides tell allies he's running in 2024 amid growing Democratic fears. President Biden and members of his inner circle have reassured allies in recent days that he plans to run for re-election in 2024 as they take steps to deflect concern about the 79-year-old president's commitment to another campaign and growing Democratic fears of a coming Republican return to power. The efforts come as the broader Democratic community has become increasingly anxious, no shit, after a bruising 6-month stretch that has seen Biden's national approval rating plummet more than a dozen points into the low 40s. Amid growing concerns about inflation, Democratic infighting in Washington, and faltering public health efforts to move beyond the COVID-19 pandemic. So, first of all, I don't know if the media genuinely thinks these are the reasons that Biden's approvals are shooting into the low 40s. I don't know if Biden and his aides who are still living in the 1990s when it comes to politics, really think that he's down in the 40s because of inflation and Democratic infighting and COVID. But I don't know. I'm pretty sure he'd probably be in the 50s if a $15 minimum wage had passed, number one, which is popular among Republicans, not to mention Democrats. Pretty sure he'd be a lot higher if there was more recurring checks that were going on, if they didn't cut off unemployment insurance on Labor Day. Like literally on Labor Day, they cut off expanded federal unemployment. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. The bipartisan infrastructure deal with Biden, it's like a fucking weird fetish. Oh, well, we got some Republicans, bipartisan, let's all, do naked jumping jacks when not one American gives a shit. Literally nobody other than the donors, because donors love bipartisan. Because bipartisanship in donor speak means screwing you and I and our viewers. Collaboratively. So number one, I wanted to ask what you think. I mean, it's pretty unprecedented that a president has to send out signals that he's running for re-election like 11 months into his first term. Number two seems to be to quiet donors' freak out because look at what's next. If it wasn't Biden, this empty shell, Pete, or Kamala Harris, which, I can't say anything bad because I'd be a racist and a sexist. But what do you make of, they're sending out the bat signal. I'm just being honest. Who knows if Biden's going to be able to run? I'm not trying to stir the pot here, but if you watch him, I'm not talking about death. You just don't know if he's going to be cognitively there in 3 years. I think that's a real valid point. Because he's definitely seems to be slipping a little bit. He seems disengaged at points, but what do you make of already? They're kind of putting this out to kind of calm the bourgeoisie and the elites.
Go back to the last election. Biden wasn't beating anybody. He was getting his clock cleaned by Bernie during the primaries before the Obama, Clinton, Clyburn, fuck you to the American people happened, right? But if you look, Kamala Harris couldn't even win her own district. She didn't get a single delegate, not one, not an accidental one. She didn't. She was so putrid, so pathetic, so utterly worthless that she couldn't even get a single delegate. Just think about how that's an effort of futility that is just almost something to be celebrated. To be that absolutely feckless, you have to be special, right? Well, she's that kind of special. And I think that the people are realizing with the Republicans and let's be fair, the inflation story, they're telling it all wrong. Okay. And the inflation story works because most people don't know any better. And so they glom on to the wrong part of the inflation story. And there's that. And I'm not an apologist for Biden at all. I'm not a capitalist in any way, shape, or form. I am not about free markets. I'm not about any of that. And everything he's saying runs counter to everything that I would normally put forward. That said, when you look at what's beneath him, like you said, with Kamala Harris, I think people are genuinely going, whoa, whoa, whoa. And I think that just like Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love, I think you're looking at Mayor Pete and they're saying, we haven't quite groomed Mayor Pete enough. That's why we got to give him this massive infrastructure bill so he can cut his teeth and really build into the thing that we're going to, the Franken monster, the Franken Buttigieg that we're going to try and create so that he can be the future. But they're not quite ready, just like Jordan Love's not quite ready. That's my take on it. I think that that's the total, oh my God, because the American people have not in any way, shape, or form embraced either of them. Right. There
Right.
is a special little clique of people that are Kamala all the way. And there's a little group of people that are like Pete Buttigieg all the way. Other than that, the average person, they're not interested in either of them. And in order for them to pull the veil over us to make us be calm and complacent as they install their next stooge, they got to be popular with the people a little bit to give off at least the veneer that it's real. So to
Right.
me, I think that's what you're looking at. And Biden's like, hey, I guess the JV isn't quite ready yet. I guess I'll stick around,
Right.
which scary.
Well, the thing that I don't know, maybe I'm a simple man, but they don't seem to understand that, I just think they're listening to so many stupid people or consultants who maybe just want to keep getting paid. I don't think they understand that if they just actually stop negotiating against themselves, stop stripping everything down to the bare bones, and actually gave some real structural, like, not like, things that are just like big league stuff that like everybody could understand, even if it's one signature thing, it would completely turn around their political fortunes. I don't know if they just don't get that or don't care because they're only allowed to do what the donors will allow them to do, or they could only go so as far as the donors will allow them to. But I mean, even if they set up a public option for healthcare, a real public option, which I'm not for, I'm for Medicare for all. If he started renewing the fight for $15 minimum wage and did something through an executive action, canceled student loan. I mean, I just don't understand. Like, it's blinking red light obvious. I don't know if it would save Democrats in Congress because you got redistricting and gerrymandering and all that. But on the big picture presidential level, it's within his power to really turn things around. But it just seems like either through stupidity or the donor is not letting him, he's not doing it.
What if I told you, and again, this is not like, some big hot take. I really believe this. What if I told you that at the end of the day, their job, each one of them, Republicans and Democrats, have a different constituency to kind of keep quelled by certain language they used. But at the end of the day, the same exact set of policies at the top are the same exact policies at the top, right? And I really do believe right here, right now, with very few exceptions, that the only thing Biden's job is really to do is to manage keeping us not picking up pitchforks. I think that's really his job, is just to manage us, to keep us just below the simmering point. And if he can do that, then he's done his job for the powers that be, because they already know. Literally watch the extraction across the globe. I know that this is, sometimes we don't put it all together this way, but we cannot divorce our role in the IMF and the WTO. We cannot divorce our role, because this is our mindset. This is how we view the haves and have-nots of countries, how we get real resources, how businesses lead the way, and how we just take the fairy tale that they tell us, and we're fighting like tooth and nail in defense of this fairy tale, while simultaneously you're sitting there looking incredulous. And me and you, we are always on point when we talk together. I know that you're a thinker, you're right there, but it's almost too much to believe. You're like sitting there saying, why wouldn't they do this? It's right there for them. The debt strike or debt collective, they're out there saying Biden literally has this paper on his desk right now that with an executive order, single pen stroke, he could literally eliminate all student debt. That easy. Like, we're not even talking about congressional issues. He could literally go and it'd be done. And he's not doing it. This isn't somebody strong arming him. This isn't somebody putting a gun to his head. This is him saying, yeah, no, no, not doing it. And it's not because you have to prevail him, because he knows it would be wildly popular with the people. It's not that. It's literally, that's not his role as president. They're not going to do it. They're not. And if the minute that they did do that, it would take the precarity out of the labor force. And the precarity that the labor force is in is what drives them to need a job. And you saw that just a little teeny taste of freedom during the pandemic, and people are mass exiting the workplace. So they know this. So the minute they take that precarity of that noose, and my student loans will be $900 a month come March 1. $900 a month, dude. $900 a month for my student debt. And they know full well that if they go ahead and do that, that we will suddenly be able to take a deep breath and not have to worry. And we might make different choices. We might make different choices because we have freedom